This is the best I've seen him throw in 3 years.
Dash a digit, the schedule busy, my head in
By this time tomorrow, the Los Angeles Dodgers could be halfway home to their first world championship since 1988. The Lakers have already, or perhaps the Tampa Bay Rays will even it up. The Lakers have already won the championship. It could be a double dip for LA. The dude Keyshawn is talking about is Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. J. Will be back tomorrow. Bart Scott, the 11-year NFL veteran.
So you say.
Jets and Ravens is with us. We're going to get right into the Cowboy conversation in just a second. But Key, because it's been a great run for you as a sports fan, we got millions of fans listening. When your team can win a baseball title and an NBA title perhaps in a span of a few weeks, you're living high on the hog. There's nothing better than that as a fan, and the Dodgers are moving closer thanks to a brilliant Kershaw performance, arguably his best performance in the postseason in years.
It is his best performance, and it's good to see the confidence build. And they just got to continue to just support him when he's in there getting the runs for him to make him feel comfortable.
We'll talk much more baseball coming up with our Jessica Mendoza. She will be joining us this morning on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line at 8:45. Look forward to speaking with her. And by the way, the Rays' #1 fan, Dick Vitale, he's been living in Sarasota outside of Tampa for decades. He'll join us at 9:10. So if the Rays are down, not feeling good, I think the best guy to have to lift your spirits is somebody like Dick Vitale. He's been doing that.
I'm not going to help him.
Dick Vitale, you talking about the great Detroit Pistons coach?
Yes, the old school. That's way before he worked at ESPN for more than 40 years.
Let's not get into Detroit versus LA conversation.
Don't be hating.
Hayton,
in his finals.
Hayton is a way you could look at the Dallas Cowboys right now because they are hating life at this particular point. They're lost Dak for the season. They've got Andy Dalton, who looked all right, rescuing them against the Giants, and looked terrible against the Cardinals. The Elias Sports Bureau came out with a great stat this morning, and if you're thinking about, do we need to upgrade, Bart, from Andy Dalton? The division is imminently winnable. We're sitting in first place with 2 wins. In the last 30 years, these are the guys the Cowboys have traded for at quarterback that have started and made the team. Everybody makes trades, transactions. Guys don't make it. But there are 5 guys in the last 30 years, the Cowboys, that's it. 5 quarterbacks they've traded for in the last 30 years. Matt Castle, John Kitna, Keys Guy, Drew Henson, Hugh Millen, and Steve Berline. That's it that have been traded and started a game in the last 30 years. There's some talk with Fitzpatrick out in Miami that it's to his team. Maybe Fitzpatrick goes to Dallas. Maybe the Cowboys look to upgrade somewhere else. Bart, what do you think about it?
I'm trying to figure out how do you do that. Like, you think about Andy Dalton and his resume. Yeah, he's not a household name, but he's a guy that's more than capable of running your offense. You have to find out what he does well. Just think, he played in the AFC North in one of the toughest divisions, and he held his own. He went to the playoffs routinely. He's able to handle and be able to really, I think, play well with this type of talent. But, you need to ask yourself, do they need to make a trade for some offensive linemen? Because that's really what the problem is. He's under duress, and he's not a mobile quarterback. So the argument about going to Ryan Fitzpatrick would be just because he's more of a mobile quarterback, a guy that can make off-schedule plays out of the pocket. But how do you make a trade for a guy in the middle of the season so that he can come out and learn the offense and talk about you're going to have continuity, you're going to have the ability to be able to do the small things with an offense that you have to do as a veteran quarterback, like making adjustments, changing the plays, getting the right plays, and being understanding what the protections are. So you're just stuck with what it is. You brought in Andy Dalton because you wanted a backup for Arm Man and Dak Prescott. He's here. This is where you're at. This is what I'm talking about. We always make excuses for the Dallas Cowboys. They're a soft organization. They're an organization that's front runners. You talk about front runners. They've always been a front running organization. When have we ever sat here in any seat, I don't care what platform that you're a part of, and said, oh man, that Dallas Cowboy team has really overachieved? They've always underachieved because that's what they do. The first thing that stands up in front of them, they get soft and they start looking for stuff to blame, like we're not prepared. Like Mike McCarthy's whole resume as a coach in this league doesn't mean anything. When have you ever heard anybody say that about Mike McCarthy? Listen, like I told you, I have my issues with Mike Nolan, but the last thing that I'm ever going to say or hear or accept from anybody is that he doesn't know what he's doing, right? Because he's been a defense coordinator in this league and he's performed at a high level. So don't give me that stuff that he's ill-prepared. Let's just put it on the players. They're not good. You talk about a player saying, hey, how can you expect me to play hard for 70 plays? What? You get paid millions of dollars. I expect you to play harder for much longer than that. And the problem is they're not playing complimentary football, right? When you have a bad defense, you protect it by running the football. And it's not about the yards. It's about the attempts. It's about being able to let your defense have a rest. But when your defense, can't stop it. You talk about they can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag right now, and that's their fault, right? Because at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to bite down. You got to bite down and say, you know what, it's tough sledding, and we got to make sure that we bring our A game, and we're gonna have to win ugly. You can't adjust and say, okay, well, Dak was here, we're going for 500 yards and we're able to air it out. So let's hope that we can outscore people. Because when you can't protect your quarterback, you can't get those downfield plays because your offensive lineman can't block long enough, so it has to come off a play action, not 7-step drops.
Quarterback is not their issue. Andy Dalton is very serviceable as a backup that's been a long-time starter in the league. The problem, much like Bart was saying, is you got to figure out the offensive line and the protections. Maybe your protection scheme isn't such that in a situation where you now got to look at different protections, try to do different things.
2 tight ends, Key.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you could go 2 tight ends or whatever the case. Maybe there's some slide protections, some turn protections, backs out of the backfield, chipping, helping. And that was his only game, the first game he started. So I'm willing to kind of wait to see why in the hell would I want Fitzmagic over Andy Dalton. I wouldn't take that. There ain't no way in hell I would want that. I just wouldn't, especially this time of year. You're asking him to come in, or any quarterback for that matter, to come in, learn this system, unless he has some familiarity with Kellen Moore. Maybe Kellen Moore was somewhere with him coaching. I don't know.
The Cowboys OC.
Yeah, the Cowboys OC, and hit some familiarity in terms of terminology and language and the things that they want to try to get done within the system. Outside of that, there's no point in even having that conversation about getting him to come in and replace Andy Dalton. You stuck with Andy Dalton now. You got to ride that thing all the way to the end.
And Bart, you look at it, you mentioned the offensive line. 60% of their offensive line is not there. Key mentioned at one point the best offensive line in football. Tyron Smith, one of the best at the position. He's out. Lyle Collins hasn't played a snap. Zach Martin, the young kid from Notre Dame, got injured on Monday night. Doesn't matter who's back there if 60% of your offensive line can't give you anything.
Yeah, but listen, everybody's dealing with injuries, right? And you have to find out a different way. You have to be able to pivot. And you got to say, you know what? We thought we were going to be this aerial attack. Dak was on. I mean, he still leads the league in passing, right? You know, we
played in weeks. Huh?
Yeah, and we understand what he was and the type of season he was having. But now you have to pivot. When are you going to bite down and say, you know what? We got to win ugly. Right, so we got to slow the game down, limit the possessions, and figure out how to play. But don't give players an excuse and an easy out. We're ill prepared. The players don't trust them. Put your name to it, bro. Like don't be something up there and be sitting behind an alias. If you're a man and you believe in it, step out there and say something.
Well,
but they're cowards though, Key.
I think it's important. No, I think it's important to always, if you say something, put your name on it. I've always, if I'm gonna say Zubin is the worst, Bart's the word. I'm gonna say it. I ain't gonna. That linebacker 57.
Bro, you know how it is, right? You know how it is. These reporters, they get these relationships with you, and you feed them some stuff. I hate dudes like that feed people because they want to be protected when they not playing well, so that they can make sure that they now get the bad stories to get ran out of town. So they start feeding. And they were like, "We'll hide you and protect you with this anonymous type of name."
And I get all of that. I understand that, but I've always had the feeling and the belief. When stuff start coming out of a building, because I've been in organizations, I've been around organizations, and every time stuff have come out of the building, that's pretty much what it is.
Right? You had
right? I mean, it is what it is.
You had beef with Gruden, right?
Yeah,
right? You had beef.
But Gruden knew that, so I wasn't hiding it.
Right. What I'm saying is,
it wasn't no damn secret.
But what I'm saying is,
I didn't really have beef with him like that. I just didn't like him.
Right. Okay. That's fair, right? Because we all work with people that we may not like and want to hang out with, but you can respect them, right?
I went and won a championship with the man. He helped me win a championship. It's so funny, ironically, our relationship, the year that we won the championship, that's the year that our relationship was the most crazy, right? It was that year. It was the highlight that you always see me and him on the sideline. That was the year we won the championship. People think it was the year that I left the team, but it was the year we won the championship.
But I say that to say this, right? It's certain things that people can say about Gruden, you might nod your head, and there's certain things you'd be like, nah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
tell people all the time, an X and O coach, he can dial it up when he wants to.
Right.
But some of the other stuff, that's phony.
So when I sit here and I tell you that Mike Nolan had his football acumen.
But I'm going to believe you.
So you see what I'm saying? So the fact that these players are saying that they're not prepared, can't make adjustments, let me know that they're looking for the easy way out.
But are they talking about Mike Nolan, or are they talking about the staff entirely? You see what I'm saying?
Mike McCarthy, you talk about Kellen Moore, and you talk about McCarthy. Those have never been their narrative. So the fact that they're trying to make that narrative are telling me that they're trying to point the fingers and not the
Mike
thumb.
McCarthy has some stuff in Green Bay that was similar.
But their offense before Dak went down was on a historical trajectory. So they pointing the finger and not the thumb because they're trying to make it seem about the defense. Like I said, I've been in that defense with the Baltimore Ravens. The people that run that same defense, Rex Ryan, Chuck Pagano, you think about Green Bay and Mike Pettin. So you talk about trees. Mike Nolan started that tree as a part of that tree. So don't tell me he don't know nothing about defense. As much as I may not like him right now, I'm not going to sit up here and let people
why the hell are they giving up all the points then, man?
Because they are dumb football players who can't communicate. You got to go back and go to this elementary defense because they're not sophisticated enough to be able to figure out how the hell, what formations mean, down and distances mean.
When we say break on the show, we break, man.
Oh, I forgot. My name's not on the show, and we told you to break with Buster, and you kept going, but it's okay because my name ain't on the show. It's okay, Keisha. I apologize.
But Bart is making a name for himself because he's called the Cowboys this morning cowards, dumb, and soft.
And front runners.
And front runners.
We never respected them when we played against them. It was easy. It was barbecue chicken.
Man, you respected me.
I did.
don't want to hear that.